Well, hello again. How's this day treating you? Hopefully good. My days are often not days here in the Quiet Palace. Though there is light here, the clouds obscure its brightest beams, and so one can at least see around these parts. Such was my design. However, one thing I know about D&D 5e and any game setting is that more often than not, there are real things all around you, not fabricated or bent to defy what you would deem as your world's logic. But how much of that is reflected in Dungeons & Dragons? Some things, but not all, have unique descriptions on how one can interact with and manipulate an object. If you want to smash a rock or break open a thick wooden door, however, then how does your DM conjure that information, if at all? Today I'm hoping I can help answer that question. My name is Fet. Today we're talking about stuff, like rocks, wood. More specifically, how to quickly determine certain characteristics that could be important for gameplay. While I'm at it, I'll welcome you once again to the Quiet Palace podcast,
where great legends prevail and evil wanes to dust.
Hopefully. This one's going to involve some math, and luckily some dice, but honestly, more so math. I'm sorry in advance. One thing I'll mention now, I'm not a scientist or any sort of professional that would truly be able to give you educated insight on what we're talking about today. But if nothing else, I'm an enthusiast that wants to help you figure out how to answer some of the least answered questions of D&D. You're wandering around a now empty dungeon room and see a large, thick wooden door to the north end. After the rogue attempts to lockpick and ends up being turned away by a magical lock, the barbarian readies himself in an attempt to smash the door down. But how hard is that going to be? What's the AC of this door? Does it have HP? Assuming, of course, that enough damage could be done to bring the door down, yeah. How do you figure that out for any object? From a big rock to a tiny steel chest, what's the best way to determine all this information when it counts? If you made a table system of all mundane materials that could help you calculate certain things quickly and easily, what would that sound like? I'll use an example for wood. We know that it's a hard material that is somewhat flammable. If we take the size of that piece of wood into consideration, it can help us determine the AC. So if wood has a sturdiness of 5, and it's a tiny piece, then its AC is 7. Not very impressive. But if we're talking small in size, that AC is 11. For each size value, the number is 2, increasing by 4 for each size larger than tiny. With that knowledge, a generic wooden door intended for medium creatures should have an AC of 15. With our large and thick wooden door from the example at the beginning, we're talking large in size, so that's 19 AC. This, of course, considering that the door increases in thickness as we consider large doors. Should the door be in rough shape, we can shave off the AC a bit, saying for every tier of degradation, which I'll leave up to you to gauge, we'll lower the AC by 2. Old age and previous damage would be decent enough examples. In regards to determining the door's total HP, I have 2 ways to do this, with dice or with multiplication. Your choice. Dice are not as quick. With dice, wood will be worth 2d6, and gains another 2d6 for each size above tiny. We'll discuss the hit dice of other materials later. With multiplication, we take a 4, which is slightly above average on a d6, and multiply that by 2. Increase the number you multiply with by 2 for each size above tiny. As for how the door takes damage, I would consider a properly built door to be sturdy enough to be resistant to bludgeoning, slashing, and piercing damage, as well as resist all elements except for fire, force, radiant, and necrotic. In this case, I would surmise that a wooden door could be set on fire, after which it would burn to ash, or into a brittle enough state to be destroyed easier. I'm going to go on a limb and assume most, if not all, of the materials here are immune to psychic damage, so I think it's safe if you assume that as well. I'll let you know if that's not the case, but wooden doors nor golden statues possess brains. Unless they do, but that's not what we're here for today. If one repairs or destroys the material in question, I would assume that affects its AC. To track it easier, we'll take a number based on the object size and decrease the AC of the object by 1 every time you take damage, equal to your max HP divided by the number equal to the object size if it is larger than tiny. A small object would have its AC lowered at half HP, a medium would be decreased after every third of its HP lost, and so on. I would assume that the object would regain 1 AC when repaired to a point where it regains enough HP using hit dice as if the door had a short rest. But not really. Doors can't heal. To return to our example, the barbarian hits the door, rolling a dirty 20 and beating the large wooden door's AC of 19. The door has 24 HP, the barbarian hits it for 8 damage after halving the great axe's damage since the door is resistant, and the AC of the door goes down by 1, as it takes 8 HP's worth of damage to do so. It is now a large wood door with an AC of 18 due to the barbarian's attack. To quickly touch on how other materials would hold up, I'll give you a couple more examples. Stone would have a higher sturdiness than wood, in my opinion. So if we're trying to break a small rock, stone might have a sturdiness of 6, which means if we use our aforementioned process above, we're talking an AC of 12. For hit dice, we could use d8s to determine its health points, being a cut above wood. So its HP would be 20 if we take the number above the average roll and multiply. The AC of the rock goes down by 1 after it takes 10 damage. Its resistances and vulnerabilities would be similar to wood if we omit the fire vulnerability. Instead, stone would resist it, as stone is known for doing. Our last example would be iron, which might have a sturdiness of 8. So the AC of a medium iron door would be 18. The hit dice could have 60 10s, giving the door 36 health. When the door takes 12 damage, its AC goes down by 1. These are only a few examples that can help one map out the various materials your world offers if you feel the need may arise. And damn it, it has in my games. Just the way things go sometimes, and so this is what I cooked up. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed what I brought through today. It's a little bit extra to add on, and one day I might make this perspective easier to understand by making some sort of PDF with tables and proper lists. We shall see. Let me know what you think in the comments. In the meantime, everyone, I hope you find joy in the days ahead of you and in front of you. And if the sky is gray, but the breeze is gentle, the quiet palace shall be nearby.